Friends, see these astonishments. Says to it the comets and meteors. In between the planets, space isn't empty. There is a gas and dust rocks called asteroids and even comets, which can be thought of as space snowballs. Some comets are so small you probably wouldn't see them. Some are the size of islands. In 1994, a ball of fire the size of small planet exploded on Jupiter. It happened when the first of more than 20 fragments of a comet plugged into the planet. That is called as a collision course. When comet Shoemaker-Levy 9 collided with Jupiter, it was the biggest collision of two solar system bodies observed by humankind, called as the crash landing. For 6 days, fragments of comet hit Jupiter. Comet Shoemaker-Levy 9 sent fireballs more than 3,000 km above the clouds of Jupiter. Meteor shower. When pieces of comet burn up in the Earth's atmosphere, they produce meteor showers, bright shooting stars that race across the night sky, as in this picture of Linoid meteor. You should spot the difference. Here is a guide to space objects you will find in this section. Meteors or shooting stars are particles of space dust that burn up as they enter Earth's atmosphere. Asteroids are basically giant boulders of rock, some so big that they have their own tiny moons. Meteorites are bits of space debris that survive hitting the Earth. Comets are space snowballs made from dust and ice that orbit the sun. Space junk is man-made things that have been left or lost in space. Comets can reach tens of kilometers across. Comets are huge, dirty space snowballs made of ice, rock, and dust. They hurtle through space in U orbits around the Sun to the outer edge of our solar system. A comet from Earth in early 2007, the brightest comet for 40 years, comet McNaught, hit the skies. It was so bright that it could be seen night and day. The closest comet, Hyakutake, came to Earth was 15 million km. It was spotted in 1996 by a man in Japan who was looking through binoculars. This is the comet's tail, can trail for millions of kilometers. There is Halley's Comet. Comets often reappear at regular intervals as they travel past Earth. One of the most famous Halley's Comet returns every 75 or 76 years. It is named after astronomer Edmund Halley, who predicted it would return in 1758. Halley's Comet travels up to 24000 km per hour. If a comet's orbit takes it close to the Sun, its surface begins to evaporate, releasing gas and dust. This results in a spectacular tail pointing away from the Sun. A comet's tail has two parts. The yellow or white part is made up of dust. The blue streaks are made up of gas. Sometimes it shows up as two tails. The picture shows how the comet's tail changes as it moves towards and then away from the Sun. Halley's Comet was seen in 1910. You know, there are shooting stars. A flash of light briefly streaks across the sky and then disappears. It is probably a meteor, a common sight. Meteors are also known as shooting stars. When they hit Earth's atmosphere, some meteors explode and the resulting fragments can result in spectacular showers. One famous shower takes place every November when Earth passes through a swarm of meteors called the Leonids. A meteor is a chunk of rock or dust that burns up as it enters Earth's atmosphere. This happens about 90 km above the planet's surface. If a meteor smashes into Earth, it is called a meteorite. When the Wolf Creek meteorite crater was formed 1.2 million years ago, it exploded like an atomic bomb, nearly a perfect circle. The crater is 853 meters in diameter. There have been a number of spectacular meteorite strikes on our planet. Tungsa, Siberia, a meteorite strike destroyed miles of forest in 1908. The meteor crater in Arizona was formed 50,000 years ago. It is 1265 meters across. Dinosaurs. Many believe that the dinosaurs were wiped out by a meteorite strike 65 million years ago. A meteorite strikes our atmosphere at around 32 km per second. Most meteorites will attract a magnet because of their iron content. A meteor that isn't part of a shower is called a sporadic meteor. Incredibly bright meteors are called fireballs. People have feared meteorites for centuries. Some saw them as fiery dragons, others as weapons sent by angry gods. See this asteroid belt. Asteroids are chunks of rock. Some are small enough to hold in your hand, while others are larger than a mountain. Most of those in our solar system orbit the Sun within the asteroid belt, which lies between Jupiter and Mars. Scientists believe that asteroids are the bits and pieces left over after the formation of the solar system. The asteroid belt contains millions of asteroids. Scientists estimate there are more than 750,000 with a diameter larger than 1 km and 200 larger than 100 km. Stray asteroids or comets occasionally collide with planets, creating huge craters. An asteroid may have crashed into Earth 65 million years ago, causing a catastrophic climate change that wiped out the dinosaurs. The largest asteroid ever found in the belt was Ceres. It is the size of Texas, a state in the USA, about 933 km and 580 miles wide. Modern experts classify Ceres as a dwarf planet. Despite the existence of millions of asteroids in the belt, spacecraft like Galileo have crossed this area of space without colliding with a single one. That's because most of the asteroids are thousands of kilometers apart. Most asteroids exist in the asteroid belt, of which almost 4 lakh have been identified. It takes between 3 and 6 years for asteroids to orbit the Sun. Asteroids range in size and shape, only the largest tend to be round. Gaspra, Deimos, Phobos, Dicty, Ida, etc. The Galileo spacecraft took the first clear photographs of an asteroid when it passed through the belt en route to Jupiter and shot Gaspra in 1991. It later took a picture of Ida when it passed through the asteroid belt again in 1993. The shot included its moon, Dactyl, the first evidence that asteroids can have satellites of their own. Near-Earth asteroids are asteroids that pass relatively close to Earth. This means they are the easiest asteroids for scientists to study. And in fact, two spacecraft have successfully landed on NEAs. One asteroid that has been studied is Itokawa. It is tiny. A Japanese spacecraft, Hayabusa, was sent to collect dust samples from Itokawa and is now on its way back to Earth. Hayabusa landed on Itokawa on November 20, 2005 and remained on the surface for just 30 minutes. It landed again briefly on the 25th. Nobody is sure whether or not it picked up surface samples. Hayabusa carried a miniature lander, but this was unsuccessful. The spacecraft's box-shaped body is just over 1 meter in height. At the end of its mission in February 2001, the mission team decided to try landing the probe on Eros to show that it could be done. As it neared the asteroid for landing, it sent a series of 69 incredibly detailed shots of the surface. Some asteroids are basically loose piles of rubble floating together in space. Scientists discovered Eros to be solid. It is also very old, perhaps as old as Earth. Near Shoemaker spent a year orbiting Eros, during which time it sent back lots of useful information to Earth about the asteroid. It takes Eros just over 5 hours to rotate on its axis. Eros is named after a Greek god. Can you guess which one? Eros was the Greek god of love. Space debris. An astronaut works on a shuttle and loses a tool. An aging satellite begins to break up. A panel is knocked off a space station. Space is littered with junk and the problem is getting worse. Examples of unexpected space rubbish include a glove lost by an American astronaut on a spacewalk in 1965. Rubbish bags released by the Mir space station. 2 cameras reported lost in space by astronauts. Nuts and bolts lost when satellites were being repaired. An incredible amount of junk is orbiting Earth. The path of anything larger than a tennis ball is tracked by scientists. Currently, about 13,000 objects are being watched. Experts believe that, in total, well over 150,000 objects larger than 1 centimeter are orbiting our planet. What are the dangers? Items of junk are generally far apart in space, but problems arise when a fast-moving object slams into a spacecraft or space station. This crater in a window surface on Space Shuttle Challenger is typical of the damage caused. Debris falls to Earth regularly, but there is only one report of someone being struck by metal from space. After all, most of Earth is ocean. Before every launch, mission controllers make sure their spacecraft will not travel near any dangerous junk. Scientists are hoping to find a way to clear Earth's orbit, but a solution is a long way off. Suggestions being considered are lasers that can break objects up, space rubbish ships, and technology that can tug rubbish lower so it burns up in the atmosphere.